You know, I thought that phone prices would start to flatten out after a couple of years worth of $1,000 phones because wouldn't people get fatigue from buying $1,000 phones year after year or every couple of years? That doesn't seem to be the case, however. And so I'm proposing a boycott. I'm proposing that we boycott $1,000 phones in 2020 and just get something else. Okay, and I've got a lot of options for you to talk about later on in the video, but for now, let's just talk this through. This year, it looks like things are going to be more expensive, in part because of the 5G modems that it seems like everybody's putting into their phones, as well as the 120 hertz placebo screen. I mean, and 5G, it's not really worth anything to the majority of people in the United States. Other places, it might be different, but in other places, the phones will be even more expensive. I mean, we have already had leaks that say that the Samsung Galaxy S20 phones, which are their like more everyone style phones, are going to start out at $1,000 and peak at $1,400 to start. Now, the thing that you have to remember is that you might be sitting there saying, well, the iPhone's really expensive too, because a lot of people have said that to me, but that's true and not true. Here's the thing. You can buy an iPhone 11 Pro Max for $1099, okay? This year, the Galaxy S20 Ultra, which is the only S20 that's going to have all the bells and whistles, the 100 times zoom and the 108 megapixel camera and more RAM and all kinds of stuff. That is the only phone where you can get all of the features, and it starts at $1,400. So don't give me this iPhone's expensive too BS, because $1,400 is the starting point for that Samsung phone with everything built in. Meanwhile, the iPhones have the same specs from the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the iPhone 11 Pro and blah, blah, blah. And yes, 64 gigabytes of storage. I use 64 gigabytes of storage all the time. It's never been a problem. Anyway, I digress. Apple is likely to bump their prices a little bit too this year if they bring out 5G or 120 hertz as we expect, or something else. Who knows what else they might come up with? Maybe it'll be another banner year for iPhone cameras. Don't know. With all of that said, let's take the market into our own hands and just boycott the whole frickin' thing. I know there's a certain amount of keeping up with the Joneses out there among the tech elite folks, the geeky tech people. You know, you feel like you gotta have the latest, you gotta have the greatest, because it's feelings and self-worth and I don't know, whatever. What if we just say, no, I'm going to keep this Note 10 Plus for another year and see what happens? Or if we say, you know what, it's time for me to get a new phone, but I'm going to look at other options other than the $1,000 plus phones. You might not know, but I've been doing a ton of live streams over on Amazon, and in doing so, I've been talking about some of the more budget-minded phones that are out there, some of the phones that are still really great phones at this moment with last year's specifications and lots of bells and whistles to go along with them in some cases. So I just thought I'd walk through some of the options that are out there instead of getting a brand new $1,000+ $1,400 phone this year. Maybe we can convince the powers that be over at these companies that this is getting out of hand. Okay, so let's switch over and I'll talk you through some of these options. Okay, so here we are on Amazon. You can get a little look at the things that I have been shopping for. So let's just start right here with the Google Pixel 4, a not so popular phone, somewhat maligned by me and others. Here you can get a Google Pixel 4, it's 64 gigabytes, unlocked with an $200 Amazon gift card, and it's only $799. And so that really is, it's let me do the math, $599 for a brand new Google Pixel 4. And if you're one of those Pixel people, then maybe that's where you want to go. But this, again, $599. This thing was $899 to start, if I remember correctly, or maybe $799. Doesn't matter. Now it's $599 plus a $200 gift card. That is a deal that's worth considering. And for all of these Amazon things that I'm talking about here today, there will be links down in the description below where you can check them out for yourself and decide if you want to join me in this $1,000 phone boycott. Next up, fan favorite, Samsung Galaxy S10. Factory unlocked, brand new, with a $50 gift card, 128 gigabytes of storage, $899.97. So $900. That's one of the more expensive ones that I have on this list, but I'm putting it here because I wanted you to see that you could get this phone for less than $100 plus extra money, and then if you wanted to go cheaper than that, you have a lot of other options. These things there are companies selling these renewed on Amazon or renewed by Amazon for much less than this. You can get the Galaxy S10, S10 Plus, S10 whatever. You can get any of those guys anywhere from like $400 or $500 all the way up to this more full retail price, but there's value added. Next up, we're looking at the Galaxy S10. Now, this is the S10, not the S10 Plus, but I want you to look at this price. List price, $949. Actual price, $799. This phone is not yet 6 months old. This phone is not yet 6 months old, and you can get it for $800. Now, if you want to buy one that's been renewed, let's click through here, and you can see very good, like new. You can get this Note 10 for $550 up. Why would you spend $1,000 if you can get what is still a brand new phone for $800 or renewed for $550? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Now, listen, I mean, LG makes fantastic phones. I don't understand why LG doesn't sell more phones or why people are so down on LG, but the LG G8 is an amazing phone. It's got all the same kind of specs as last year. People don't like the LG skin. Well, put Nova Launcher on it. Whatever. Doesn't matter. That's not an excuse. It's got all the right specs. It comes with 128 gigabytes of storage, and it's upgradable with a micro SD card, so there's no excuse for complaining about that. It also has the amazing headphone jack that has, up to this point, been exclusively for the LG V series. Now it's over on the G8, and boy howdy, that's something you're not going to find on any other phone. But okay, so maybe you don't want the LG G8. What about the LG G8X? Brand new for $709. You get not one, but two screens. Not one, but two screens, and those two screens work together. And it's universally compatible. You can get it with an SD card, 32 gigs. You can get 64, 128, and only pay like $50, $40, $35 more. And you get two screens. Now, if you want the Galaxy Fold, you've got to pay a lot more than that. In fact, let's just look and see. What is the Galaxy Fold going for on Amazon right now? Fold. $1,500. Not as bad as $2,000 after tax, but still. Okay? So the LG G8 is a great option for a dual screen phone. Now, but what if you want a bigger phone? What if you want a bigger phone with two screens? Well, here you can get the LG V50 with 128 gigabytes of storage, all at the 855 Snapdragon chip, all of the bells and whistles of all of the phones from last year, plus micro SD card storage, a really, really great camera. This LG V50 was my Android phone of the year in 2019. Nobody bought it, and that's ridiculous. And now you can buy it with two screens for $700. Can you see where I'm heading with this? It's $699 for two screens, as opposed to $1,500 for the Galaxy Fold, even at this point. And, the Galaxy Flip is going to come out, and it's going to be at least $1,400. And then the Galaxy Fold 2 will come out, and it'll still be at $2,000. Now, if you absolutely have to have the newest of the new to flex for your friends, then I guess that's what you should get. But it's your money. Here's something that would be arguably better with more screen real estate, etc., etc. for half of the price. Just food for thought. If you want budget options, what about the Sony Xperia 10 unlocked? Boom, $259. Or what about the LG Stylo 5? This is a budget phone. LG sells a ton of these. It has a stylus, as you can see here, and it's $200. Now, might not be something that like the tech elite want to carry, but think about it for your friends, your family. Otherwise, this could be a really great option. It's got push to talk. You can talk to Alexa. How's that? Now, let's talk about iPhones for a second. We all know, if you watch my recent video from last week, I traded in my iPhone 11 Pro, and I decided to get an iPhone 11 with 256 gigabytes of storage instead of the 64 that I had on my iPhone 11 Pro. Some people have called my solution to my issue stupid, blah, 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 whatever. You know what? It works for me. So, but here, let's just look. You can get, well, if you trade in, you get it for super cheap. But even if you don't trade in, for 64 gigabytes, $700. That's a brand new iPhone. It's going to be the brand new iPhone for the next 8 months at least. So why would you spend $1,000? This phone has everything that you need. The only thing that it's missing in terms of the camera is the third telephoto lens, which I never used anyway. And yeah, people talk about the screen, how it's all kind of crappy and stuff. Well, I mean, I like the screen. I think the screen looks really good. And there's nothing that tells me that it doesn't. You can't see 4K on a screen this size. You can't see 1440p on a screen this size. You just can't. But okay, let's say you want to go more budgety for the iPhones. Here we got the XS Max for $900. We got the XS Max fully it's renewed for $649. We've got $589 for the XS. You see what I'm doing here? So here's the XS, 256 gigabytes, renewed by Amazon. See, it says Amazon renewed, $589. This phone is barely a year old, and it's an incredible phone. My wife has one. Then you've got the XS Max, as I said, $649 for 64 gigs. You go up to 256, and it's $700. Why would you pay $1,000 for a brand new phone? The 10R we can get for $539, and that's for 256 gigabytes. What do we get for 64 gigabytes? $439. This is a phone barely 1 year old. Okay, and then the 8 Plus, which is also a phone that's just a couple of years old now, $340. And if you want 256 gigabytes, you're paying $389. I think you can see where I'm coming from on this. There is no reason other than the need to keep up with all of the other pals that you've got and to be able to flex on your new smartphone to buy $1,000, a $1,400, a $1,500, a $2,000 phone. There's no reason. You've got all of the options available to you right there, all in pretty much brand new phones. So join me in this boycott of these crazy prices. Smartphones have become a commodity. They all do the same things. Some do some things better, some do some things differently, but they all do the same things. Whether you're an iOS person or an Android person, it doesn't matter. You've got options, especially if you're an Android user. You've got many, many options that are half price compared to the $1,000+ phones that you might be thinking about getting this year. Like Samsung's announcing their new S20 line tomorrow, and those prices look to be insane. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Are you joining me? Does this make sense? It makes sense to me. So just let me know what you think down in the comments. We will have a boisterous discussion, as always, and it'll be awesome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back again. Consider becoming a channel member for all kinds of cool perks. Consider some merch that I have linked down in the description below. We got t-shirts, we got coffee mugs, we got iPhone and Samsung cases with Painfully Honest Tech on them. I designed them myself because I didn't like any of the other cases that were out there. If you've never been here before and this is your first time watching a Painfully Honest Tech video, thank you so much for coming by, and I hope you'll do it again. Like, subscribe, and bell notify yourself so that you know when the next Painfully Honest Tech video is dropping. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech! Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.